Hi guys. I am really excited for this week's video. I haven't done a TBR jar for the month in a few months. When did I last do it? For March, I think, and we are now in May, so just 2 months. But I miss it. But instead of doing a TBR jar picks my reads for the whole month, I think every time I'm ready to start a new book this week, I'm just going to take a prompt and choose a book that way. I'm not going to say I'm in a slump, because I'm not, but I am at a point where I look at all of my books and I have no idea what to pick next. These are the books we're choosing from. I also have about 40 Kindle books to choose from, so those are not out of play here. Without further ado, let's just pick a prompt. Just one. That's kind of fun, right? I hope so, because I'm excited. I don't know what kind of a book I want. Okay, I have one. Let's see what we're playing with here. I also have a puppy right here. Hi. She's so sleepy. Okay, first book. This is a long prompt. Let's hope I have something. The cover matches your current outfit. That is fun. Colors, I guess. I'm wearing gray, tank top, and blue jeans, and a hat. You know what? If she was wearing a hat with her ripped jeans, I might actually say that I match that, the outfit specifically. But what we have to go for is something kind of boring, is what that means to me. This is kind of a janky prompt for today. I don't know if I match anything. Okay, we're going blue and gray. Let me see. That is way too blue and pink and cute for how I'm dressed right now. I feel like I could do Voyage of the Dawn Treader. It's kind of similar, and I would like to keep going with this series soon. River Enchanted is too much color. If I'm being honest, this matches, and I don't feel like reading it. I'll just hold on to it. Unravel Me. I'm really just taking anything that is blue without cute extra colors. Death in the Spires, that's too dark, I think. In the fine print. Okay, these are our options. This actually matches the color of my shirt perfectly. The gray in the blueprints, whatever that is, and then jeans. Unravel Me. Yeah, not as close. I don't want to read that, so I'm putting that back. Okay, I actually think without a doubt that The Fine Print matches the best by Lauren Asher. This is also not short though, especially for a romance. Why does a romance have to be over 400 pages? You know what, I say that, but if I was reading Wild Eyes, I wouldn't complain. We're gonna read The Fine Print first. And then when I'm done this book, I'll come and pick another prompt until I'm ready to stop doing it. I love that. Okay, first book. It is a couple of days later. I am still reading The Fine Print, and I have a lot of thoughts. I'm only about 80 pages in, and that is because I'm finding it a little bit difficult to get into. So I read like 20 pages 2 days ago, and then last night I read for a long time, but not a lot of pages. This also could be because I just finished Morningstar the other day, and that is my first 6-star read of the year. Go check out my last vlog if you're curious, but this is definitely not hitting even close to the same. So to go from some of my favorite writing and story to some less than favorite writing is a little bit difficult, but I'm gonna push through because I think I could really enjoy it. It just has to get past this beginning hump first, I think. I'm also feeling quite sick, so I have a whole stash of throat lozenges and some tea. And actually, I just opened the lozenges the other day and made the top part my bookmark, and I haven't changed it. So I'm gonna do that in a second here. Yeah, I'm finding it difficult to get into, like I said, and I think it's because I'm not totally sold on the concept. Mostly. This is definitely a romance first, plot second book, which is fine, but I have realized maybe like in the last year or so, I definitely prefer a plot heavy romance book where the romance kind of takes a backseat and is a little bit more slow going. I feel like I should get out of my head and enjoy it for what it is because it's a great light read, and maybe that's not what I was looking for right now, even though I thought that's maybe what I wanted after a 6-star read. We're following Rowan and Zara, and Rowan is the director of Dreamland, which I'm guessing it's in Florida, so I'm going to say like it's the equivalent of Disney World. Zara just got promoted to the creative team, and he is in his grandfather's will, who just passed away, and there are some stipulations for him to be able to get his money out of the will. So she was just hired, be on the creative team and make up some plans. And they have this instant attraction to one another, which is fine. I have no problem with instant attraction. I really don't. The problem is that when they are not together, all they're doing is describing their attraction to the other person. And when they do walk into a room that the other person is in, all they do again is describe what they're seeing. I know all about his butt and all about her lips and not much else about them as people. And I understand it's an attraction to a point. Like, it was fine at the very beginning, but now it's still every time it's the same stuff. He also does like that she has a backbone, which this book is Grumpy Sunshine, but I would actually say it's more asshole / woman with backbone. Like, she's cheery, but she talks back to him and kind of has a mind of her own. And I think he's not used to seeing that, but he's just a dick. This is my problem with things we never got over. What's the guy's name in that? Duke or something? He was just a dick. This guy's worse. Rowan is more of a dick. I think obviously there's something in the background that we're going to figure out. It's not that difficult to have common courtesy, and he just doesn't have that for anybody. I think you can do Grumpy Sunshine and still have someone who can hold a normal conversation. I'm so glad she's giving him the time of day, because I wouldn't. I do not have the strength for a person like that. And then there is a problem with continuity. I don't beat this book over the head, but there already was a moment where she was tripping over her sneakers, and then 2 pages later she dropped something by her ballet flats, and I'm like, we haven't left the scene. And things like that are not a big deal, but they do really bother me. The good things, I do really like Zara, and I think I really like her relationship with her roommate / friend / coworker. I hope that they really build upon that. They definitely are there for each other and help each other and are good supports for one another, and I really do appreciate that. I think that's so fun. So we are going to see what creative ideas that she comes up with, and we are hopefully going to see Rowan get his spark back, because he definitely lost it through his childhood, it seems like, and he doesn't have a great relationship with his father. I can already say that that's the trilogy, is that he has these stipulations for the will, and his brothers do as well. So we do kind of see a little bit from his brothers, Declan and Cal, throughout the book. Already know I'm going to read the rest of the series. Like, I'm not hating the book. I feel like this just came across as all of the things that I don't like about a book, and maybe it was a little bit too harsh. I'm not disliking it. I just really need to get into it so that I want to keep reading, because right now I am struggling a little bit. I lied. It's only 20 minutes later and I am loving it. I am giggling and kicking my feet and I am obsessed. There's like a little texting catfish situation and this guy falls hard plot thing going on. I retract my earlier statements. Hi, we return and I don't know where I put my book. Finished the fine print just like 10 minutes ago. I think my camera's too high, 1 sec. I was gonna say ignore everything I said in my last update, but that's a lie. Ignore like half of it, I guess. The more I read, the more I understood where Rowan's personality came from and why he was the way he was. I still don't think I would have the energy or the mental grit to keep up with him and to try to make him happy. It's just not worth it, in my opinion, but I understand why he was the way he was, and he started to grow on me, and actually I started to like him more than Zara as one of our main characters. So that's an interesting turn of events, but it took a lot of effort on her part and a lot of time that he probably didn't deserve, but really good for him that he got it, because it improved his life vastly. I would say sometimes a power dynamic in a book can be done really well, and I can really like it. In this book, not so much. Either it wasn't there at all and no one cared, or he kind of used it to his advantage immediately. Still no one cared, but he was like, oh, there's perks of being your boss, like getting her out of work immediately. I don't love that. I think it minimizes the work that she does just because he's rich, and I hated that she liked it. But that's kind of a small thing. It didn't really happen that often. It wasn't too big of a deal, but it wasn't my favorite. Another thing that I didn't love was regarding the spice scenes. I think there was the right amount of spice in this book, but every time one of them was vulnerable and started going towards the love feeling more than the like or lust feeling. It ended with a spice scene, and sometimes that's okay, but it was every time, so it actually kind of minimized their vulnerability for the way that the spice was written, in my opinion. I think it would have been different if the spice was written in like a loving way and a romantic way, but it didn't really feel like that. It kind of felt like their power dynamics continued in the bedroom, which is fine, but not after every time one of them was vulnerable. But outside of those updates, the romance in the book I started to really enjoy. I thought that they were a believable couple. I actually really liked their relationship with one another and the way that they challenged one another. I still wish the subplot was more important than it was. It just kind of feels like it was wrapped up at the end quickly, even though it should have been the purpose of the whole book. I actually found the will and the things that he was supposed to do very interesting, but it really, really was like a subplot, even though I felt like it should have been the main plot of the book. It is a romance first and foremost, so it totally makes sense that it is that way. That's just my personal opinion. And I am still looking forward to reading his brother's stories because now it's their turn to do what they need to do to get the money out of the will, so I think that's really interesting. I feel like it's still, I said more negative things, but the romance side was really good and you can't really say more than that. So in the end, I am rating this 3.5 stars. So that was The Fine Print. That is book number 1. I am now going to take a new prompt for book number 2 in this video, and I'm super excited. I'll just take a sip of my coffee. I have like a chocolate flavored coffee pod, and it is quite good. Let's take a prompt to pick our second book of the week. I don't want the one that fell out. That feels too anticlimactic. All right, let's take something from the middle. Oh, it's another long one. Ooh. By an author you already love. Okay. By an author I love. Okay, so I don't think it's going to be a Kindle book because most of my Kindle books were free. So I don't think any of them are ones that I bought and chose myself. There are some options here. Because I recently read Morning Star and Golden Sun last week and loved it, I could read Iron Gold and continue the series because I love Pierce Brown's writing. Another option is Funny Story by Emily Henry. But do I want to read two romance? Oh, another one is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I think we're going to get 2 romances in a row. So I think we're choosing between these 3. I think these are one of the ones we're going to read next. Funny Story, Wild Eyes, or Iron Gold. I don't think I'm ready to keep reading this series, but I really want to. I haven't read the back because the first 3 are like a trilogy, and then I think it wrapped up and then he decided to continue. So I have no idea what's going to happen in this book, but I don't know if I'm ready to find out. Ooh, it kills me to do that because I don't know if I want to read 2 romances in a row. I love Emily Henry. I really, really do. But I think I feel like reading Wild Eyes. I think I'm going Wild Eyes. That is going to be book number 2. You know what? The prompts have spoken and my mood has spoken. And so we are reading another romance book. Yeah. I'm happy about that decision. It is the next day and I am about halfway through Wild Eyes. And you think the camera's gonna pay you? What was I saying? I'm about halfway through Wild Eyes. If I could only say one thing, I would say it is crazy going from The Fine Print to Wild Eyes. The writing, where I was like, oh, it's pretty good, it's decent, it's not bad. This is worlds better. I am having the time of my life with this book, okay? We had to do some commuting today. We supported a friend in the city who was running a half marathon in Vancouver. So I had some time on the SkyTrain to read, hence why I am quite far. And then we got back in the truck and I was like, I gotta keep reading. So I haven't really stopped. This book is unreal. One of my favorite things, maybe I should do a little recap. So we are following Skylar and West is Ford's best friend from book 1, Rosie's brother. And West is a single dad with 2 kids who has the bunkhouse that Rosie stayed in, right? Rosie stayed in it in the first book. And Skylar comes early to record her album with Ford at his studio. I couldn't think of the word. And she needs somewhere to stay because there's nowhere to stay yet. So she is now staying in the bunkhouse on West's property and their relationship is blooming. And she is kind of running away from a very shitty situation with her parents and her team and her ex-boyfriend. So she's kind of gone incognito to them and is like, don't talk to me, I need some time off. And she is using it well, in my opinion. So that's kind of the gist of the story. As far as romances go, it still maybe doesn't have as much other plot as I'd appreciate, but I don't really seem to care because their relationship seems so realistic. So at this point, she's been there for about 2 weeks, I would say. They are really just flirting, and it's so cute. I do wish there was a little bit more time without one another. I think that was my biggest problem with book one. One of my favorite things about small town romances is the friendships that you get to see, and it kind of was lacking that a little bit. And I'm thinking that again, every chapter has them running into each other or making plans with each other, and not so much alone time or personal growth or time with friends. It's just like kind of sprinkled in, and I wish there was a little bit more of that. But other than that, I am absolutely loving it because they're really just flirting. Like nothing has gotten, I mean, obviously their flirting gets a little bit out of hand sometimes, but it's very realistic flirting in my opinion. And you can tell that they're attracted to one another, but they realize that they and the other just kind of need a friend right now. So they are just being friends who flirt all the time, and it's so innocent seeming, and I kind of love it because these are big adults with big real world problems, and they kind of need something that seems a little bit innocent, even though it's definitely going to lead to something serious. I also like that she is someone famous coming into a more normal world, someone who has had everything done for her and doesn't really know the way of the real world, but it's written very realistic because I feel like sometimes you can put that in a book and this person is just like totally dependent on everybody and can't think for themselves, and everything kind of grosses them out and they have no backbone or strength of character to try new things, and she is not that way. There are things where she's like, I've never done that before, but she's like, there's a YouTube tutorial for everything. So like, she's not completely helpless, and I do appreciate that too. It didn't overdo the spoiled rich girl thing, because then that's not a character I really want to like. But in this book, I really do like her because she has real strength of character. He's such a good dad that I love to see it. And if anybody has daddy issues, like our main character Skylar, who is seeing in West what a real dad should be like, this could heal something. I don't know. He's kind of healing something in her in a friendship way and in just being who he is to his kids, and it's beautiful. So that is my current thoughts. Let's get on with it. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 freaking stars. I have no doubt in my mind that this is a 5-star book. Insert TikTok of you closing a book, going on to Goodreads, rating it 5 stars, and scoffing at the 1-star reviews. You know what? Every single 1-star review that I read pertains to the first chapter, and I agree that it's a bit of a rocky first chapter, but after that, like, 5 stars. 5 freaking stars. This book is amazing. This is a romance book. This is what I want every romance book to be like. I absolutely loved it. West is my favorite book boyfriend. I say that with no qualms. He is my favorite book boyfriend. Okay? Not just in Elsie Silver books, because this is only the second one I've read. All of them. I think as individuals, our main characters, West and Skylar, just completely grew as people throughout the entire book and matured, but still like retained parts of their old habits. They actively tried to resist those urges throughout the book, and it felt very realistic. The reason I love this romance is because it's romantic. It's not just physical attraction. It's there and it's wonderful, but that's not all it was. There was this calm comfort that they found in each other's presence, and reading it just felt relaxing. And just like they actually like each other's company, which I've started to doubt about other romance books. Like, these people just like each other, and it's so wonderful. And a little bit more friendship stuff came in. So I'm less concerned about the lack of the friendship stuff because they talked about it and it happened more. Still not quite enough. That's the one thing I would say is missing. The other thing is the physical descriptions in this book are not just like what people look like. That's not what I mean. I mean like the grazing of a pinky along the back of his hand, or like their intertwining limbs when they're sitting on the floor between the oven and the kitchen island. Like, I can visualize every moment of physicality in this book. Him rubbing his own stubble, or I could picture how people were laughing just because she describes it so freaking well. Like, this is how you write a book. It's so good. Her writing is so good, and I just want to go on to the next one, and I don't own it, so I can't do that. Kind of makes me a little bit sad, but that's okay. I will get to it soon. No part of the writing in this book felt weak or phoned in. Everything felt intentional, and I absolutely love that. And I want to be Emmy when I grow up. The youngest character in this book makes me jealous of her veracity, and I loved her so much. I don't usually like kids in books, and I've said that before, but I like the kids in this book, and I liked Cora in book 1, and I like Cora in the small part she has in here. I absolutely loved it, guys. It's such a good book, and I am very happy I read it. Yeah, celebrity country superstar moves to the boonies and falls in love with a horse rancher. Sign me up for all of them. And now we are going to pick a third and final prompt for this video. Let's take a prompt. I'm losing my voice. I was kind of sick this weekend. I don't know if I mentioned that in this video or not. And this morning I thought that I was feeling fine, and now I'm starting to drag a little bit. What am I hoping for? I wouldn't mind like a general fiction, something standalone, preferably. I don't want a romance because I will just be comparing it to Wild Eyes, and I don't want to do that. Last two are kind of long. That one feels kind of short. 5-star prediction. Shoot. Okay, I do have a couple that I have highlighted. I have a spreadsheet on my laptop of all my Kindle books, and I have a couple highlighted that I wanted to read soon because I think I will like them, but I'm not sure that they'll be 5-star predictions. 5-star prediction. Emily Wilde's usually sit around 4 stars for me. I think The Well of Ascension could be 5 stars, but I'm not feeling this right now, if I'm being honest. Let me just get my laptop and look at my spreadsheet a second. I have a historical fiction called The Echo of Old Books. I think that might be what I choose. Last week I was looking at my highest rated and lowest rated books that I own on my Kindle and physically, and The Echo of Old Books I think is the highest rated or second highest rated Kindle book I have. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let me read the synopsis of this one. Rare book dealer Ashlyn Greer's affinity for books extends beyond the intoxicating scent of old paper, ink, and leather. She can feel the echoes of the book's previous owners, an emotional fingerprint only she can read. When she discovers a pair of beautifully bound volumes that appear to have never been published, her gift quickly becomes an obsession. Not only is each inscribed with a startling incrimination, but the authors, Hemi and Bell, tell conflicting sides of a tragic romance. So she reads books and can see something about the life of the person who read the book before her. That is really cool. I even think the setup of this book is going to be exciting, and it won't take too long to get into based on the synopsis alone, and I hope that's true. Hi. So I started reading The Echo of Old Books, and I am only 2 chapters in. Our main character, Ashlyn, reading a book from the 50s, written in the 50s, about the 40s, and she's in the 80s. Does that make sense? And the thing that I'm also appreciating the most is that it reads different. Because I've had this problem before where you read a story and in that story is another story and both of them read like they were written by the same person, because in reality they were. But I think that it would be very difficult to write a book. In this case, it will be 3 different people. So I'll see if the third point of view also reads differently. Like the narration is different and you can tell it's a different character writing this book. And I also thought that Ashlyn could see the history of the person who had read the book before her, but that's not true. She just gets the feelings that they felt. Anyway, I'm only 2 chapters in. I think I'm gonna like it. I don't think it's gonna be 5 stars. I would be surprised if it was at this point, but I think there's going to be lots of secrets, and so I'm excited to see what they are. So it's the next day, and I'm just going to read until I fall asleep. I think I'm like 55% of the way through The Echo of Old Books. I am feeling conflicted. I really like the writing, and to add to what I said yesterday, we have gotten now the third author's point of view, and it does sound like a third whole new person. I am struggling to like any of our characters. There is one character, and now I'm forgetting his name. I want to say Jack, and it could be complete Ethan. There's one character named Ethan. Why did I think Jack? I don't even think there is a Jack in this book. Ethan is someone who Ashlyn meets who is a descendant of these characters. She found somebody. He's my favorite character, and he's been in 2 chapters so far. But he's my favorite because he's the most normal. I don't hate Ashlyn. I don't like actually dislike her. I just don't like her. And I think what it comes down to with her and with our other characters, Belle and Hemi, who she's reading their books, all of them kind of think very selfishly, and they're like shocked that other people don't see it from their perspective. So it's maybe not selfish, it's just kind of one-track mind. Also, the 2 books are written directly in the same storyline. The woman, Belle, received this book from Hemi and then wrote her own version of events afterwards directly related to it. So it is interesting getting the 2 points of view side by side, but they kind of are just like angry letters to each other. So it's a lot of drama, which is good. It's just kind of boring, and I actually don't see how they fell in love. I am not convinced that they would have even liked each other as people. There is some drama in Belle's past and in her family line, and she's trying to get out of it, and she's just kind of is drowning in it. And Hemi doesn't understand her point of view and is like, why can't you just leave to be with me? He really wants her to run away with him. And Ashlyn is kind of just reading these stories and trying to put all the pieces together and figure out who everybody is, because nobody used real names in it. So she has to do all this digging, and it's fun because she's in the 80s, so the internet isn't an option for her. So she's going to librarians and calling her friends who she knows who might be able to help her, and it's actually very sleuthy, and I do like that part of it. So those things I'm all enjoying, and because I like the writing, I'm not struggling to read it. I also was hoping that there would be more about the echo that she feels in these books. There's actually not too much about her special ability, but I'm only halfway, so things could change. Anyway, that's my update. Conflicted. I don't even know what the rating is sitting at right now. Maybe like somewhere in the middle, 2.5, 3. So I hope something really good happens and something surprises me, because so far nothing's really surprised me. I would like to say I changed my tune pretty instantly after my update yesterday, and I just finished it and I'm about to start work, but I thought, let's just talk about it now while it's fresh in my mind. Okay, that's a bit straighter. I'm still like so conflicted. I will say that my complaint about both of the past characters thinking selfishly continued. They seemed to always want the other person to see things from their point of view over and over and over. They're like, why don't they understand the way that I feel? But neither of them ever put themselves in the other person's shoes and tried to have some empathy for the choices that they made or the way that they were feeling. So it was just stayed very selfish. But Ashlyn and Ethan debated that as they read these books together and they talked about them. They were like, my goodness, they always are the victim. Kind of made me feel better about it. That feeling about these characters never went away. And I couldn't help but think, like, if it wasn't a tragic love story and just a romance, it wouldn't have worked. Like, they didn't trust each other and they didn't even really seem to like each other. So I struggled to think that it's a beautiful romance. So last night I was saying around 2.5, 3 stars for what I was feeling like, just like mediocre, unsure, definitely not 5. And remember, this prompt was 5-star prediction, and I knew it wasn't going to be a 5-star, but I thought I'll pick one that I'm really eager to read, and that has been on my radar since I got it. I knew nothing would probably be a 5-star after Wild Eyes. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 because it improved at that point, and I did enjoy reading it. I wouldn't not recommend it. I think it is a really good book. Just maybe don't read it after a 5-star, and don't go in with high expectations of Ashlyn's gift of feeling the stories out of these books, because that's really what was missing. I think that this would make a great movie. I think I would definitely watch this movie. So we read 3 books this week. I definitely will do this concept again. I think I like the excitement of picking a prompt every time I have to read a book. I'm going to keep that in mind for the future. And we are going to leave this here. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.